Hey guys, welcome back. Today is just going to be a question and answer video. The eye look that I'm wearing today is done using shadows from the 10th anniversary palette from Kat Von D, and I have filmed it. It will be part of an upcoming video of a 3 looks using this palette, so stay tuned for that, or possibly I've already posted that video. I don't know. I can't plan how these things go. So I have the questions up on my phone here, and I figured we'd just go through them. First up, there are 2 questions posted by my darling friend Christine on Instagram. She's absolutely lovely. Christine, you asked some fantastic questions. So one was, whose look would you like to recreate / remodel? And then the next question was, what would you put in an eyeshadow palette if you could create one? I really kind of think that I could dedicate entire videos to each of those questions. So I think that's what I'm going to do, especially the palette one. Let's see, whose look would I recreate? Let's move over here for the sake of this question, and I'm going to post some Instagram pictures, some screen grabs here. So there are 2 that immediately spring to mind. So Jordan Liberty, phenomenal makeup artist. He does do editorial looks, but he also just does absolute perfection, frankly. And so if I could emulate his makeup, I would be a very happy camper. So I'm going to post some pictures, like I said, let them rotate through a little bit. He makes his models look healthy and vibrant, and even when he's using very understated makeup, it just looks flawless. So the next one is Juliana. Holy crap. Holy crap. Her use of color, her creativity, her freaking blending skills. Like, she is phenomenally talented, and so I would love to have half of the talent that she has. So one of these days, and I've been toying around with the idea of it, but one of these days I really do need to just bite the bullet and actually try to follow one of her tutorials, because she does have a YouTube account as well, and she posts tutorials of these mind-blowingly amazing eye looks that she does. For the palette question, what would I put in an eyeshadow palette? I'm going to challenge myself, and I am going to actually create a palette, at least on paper, or maybe draw some singles and put them into a Z palette or something like that. So I will do that. I will do it in a separate video, but that's one of those questions that I think deserves a lot more thought than me just sort of freeballing it here. Is that a word? Freeballing? I don't know. It is now. Okay. Hannah asks, what's your favorite makeup brand / best quality makeup brand? And that is an incredibly difficult question to answer. There's no one brand that does it all for me. So I would have to sort of break it down into different categories. For me, face products, I think my favorite is Nood by Nature. And I love the way it makes my skin look, whether I'm using the liquid foundation or the powder. I love that it's all clean ingredients. I love how it feels on my skin. It lasts all day. It doesn't look cakey. It looks very natural, like the finish itself is very natural. And it's just one of those products, like particularly with the foundations, whether the powder or the liquid, by the end of the day, I don't have that that need to wash my face. You know, sometimes by the end of the day, you're like, get it off. I don't get that with these products. I really enjoy them. For eyeshadows, oh God, it's like choosing children. Makeup Geek as an indie brand, they're consistent. The quality of the shadows is consistent. I've never ordered one and been disappointed by it. You just know the quality is going to be there. Kat Von D, I really enjoy her shadow formulation. Yes, it's a little bit soft, but that doesn't bother me. A little bit of dust in the pan doesn't bother me. Who else? They're Too Faced. When they're not being silly, I really like their products. Their shadows are fantastic to work with. And again, very consistent quality. Jeffree Star, the Blood Sugar palette, phenomenal. Huda Beauty, the minis, I cannot express my love for them enough. And then for lip products, there's just so many variables. I'm loving the Luxe lipsticks from ColourPop. If I could figure out how to actually do a swatch video because they stain so much, I would totally do one. I might just have to do arm swatches on that one. Side note, let me know down below, would an arm swatch video of lipsticks be okay? Or do you want to see me put them on my mouth and just figure my shit out? For drugstore lipsticks, you really can't go wrong with the Color Sensationals from Maybelline. These are going to run you about $8, but they're phenomenal. The quality is fantastic. And I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Dobieki is your Instagram username. Sorry, I just have screenshots, so I can't click through to see what your name is. I'm so sorry. What celebrity have you been told you resemble? Who would play you in a movie? So I've never actually been told that I look like a celebrity, probably because I'm the size of 2 celebrities put together. But people often tell me that I look very familiar. And funny side story, there is a lawyer, she's not quite in Barrie, but she's in a neighboring city, same jurisdiction as where I practice. And she and I went to law school together, and people get us confused all the time to the point where the judge, one of the judges, actually cannot tell us apart. She actually scratched my name off once from it's called an endorsement. It's basically like an attendance sheet. It's where the judge writes what happened that day. She scratched my name off and put Nicole's name on. Nicole and I were at court together one day, not with each other, but we were just in attendance on the same day. And the judge stops middle of a proceeding and calls her and I up to the bench so that she can do a side comparison. It was you remember that moment years and years and years ago when Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson performed together and people were like, oh my God, they're 2 separate people. That's basically Nicole and I. Everybody just assumes that we're interchangeable. I don't know. So I don't know who would play me. I guess from a personality perspective, somebody sarcastic and somewhat witty. I like to think of myself as somewhat witty at any rate. So personality-wise, I'm thinking an Anna Kendrick, Jennifer Lawrence. But from a physical perspective, I don't know. We need more plus-size women in Hollywood. That's what I'm thinking. And then my dear friend Emma on Instagram, she asked me if I could only wear one item of makeup for the rest of my life, what would it be? Hands down, concealer. Boring as hell, basically vital to my existence. I am lucky enough, I have good skin. I have fairly even lips. I have full brows. I've got decent eyelashes. I can get away without any of that kind of stuff. But concealer, I don't go to the grocery store without concealer on. It's just the dark circles that I have are second to none. And concealer is a must-have. And she also asked me, what would my death row final meal be? What wouldn't it be? I don't have a refined palate. Yeah. It would have to be dirty, grubby food, like pizza and poutine and chips and buffalo chicken fingers. It's not going to be lobster and anything like that. And I would probably be that person that's okay, first I want 1 slice of pizza from Dino's Pizza in Barrie because it's a hole in the wall, but it's fucking fantastic. If you're ever in Barrie, go to Dino's. And then I want 5 gummy bears. And then I want 2 ounces of steak. Filet mignon, please. And then I'll have half of a cherry Diet Coke. And then I want 15 strands of spaghetti. And then 1.5 buffalo chicken fingers. I would try to maximize on this meal so that I would have I don't know, 60 different things, but 1 bite of each, just so that it was a smorgasbord of delicious, dirty, unhealthy, terrible food. Because if I'm going out happy, satiated. It's all good. and now I want buffalo chicken fingers. So the next question is from my friend Leah on Instagram, and she asks, do you have any hidden or not hidden talents? I wouldn't say that I have any hidden talents per se. I just have talents that I don't really showcase anymore. Like, I can play the flute. I played the flute all throughout high school. Actually performed for Prince Andrew once as part of an ensemble. And yeah, I still have a flute. Muscle memory is still there. I can still play it. I just don't have a lot of time to do it. I can sort of sing. Like, I don't think I have a fantastic voice, but it's passable, I suppose. And I can also act. I'm actually a fairly good actress, if I can say that myself. I enjoy acting. I've done a lot of local community theater, but I haven't done it in a while. Just with kids, it's such an investment of time that I just have not made it a priority. I would like to get back to it maybe in another year or two once Bennett's a bit older, but that's something I can do. The other thing that it's not a talent, it's certainly nothing that I could ever capitalize on or market in any sort of way, but apparently it's unique. I don't know. I don't know what other people's capabilities are, but I can lick my own nose. Apparently not many people can do this, and I can. So there you have it. I'm the nose licker. Do I need to demonstrate? I guess I feel like I have to demonstrate this, don't I? Oh God, it's not attractive, but I can do it. Are we ready? Oh God. I'm the one who brought this up. I don't like. Okay, anyways. There we go. I can lick my own nose. All right, and then Leah's last question is, what's your favorite thing about yourself? You're asking that of somebody who suffers crippling self-doubt. But I guess, okay, I like my sense of humor. I do. But I think what I value more than that about myself is just kindness. I consider myself to be a kind person. I basically just try to live my life under the philosophy of treat others how you would want to be treated. And Barry and I were actually just talking about this the other day. Like, basically, when I meet people, I assume that they are going to be honest, kind, respectful people, and I treat them as such. That is just sort of my baseline approach to people. I'm losing my headband. I just sort of assume that people are going to be decent human beings, that they are going to have integrity and good intentions, and I treat them as such until they prove otherwise. If people are dishonest or unkind or outright rude or mean, that's going to change my perspective, and that's going to change how I react to them and how I treat them. So that's sort of, I guess, to answer, I am proud of the fact that I am a kind and caring person. I don't think there's enough of that in the world, unfortunately. And I'm happy to be that. And it can open me up to painful experiences and to significant disappointment, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't want a hard shell around myself. So there's a long answer to your question. And I think I only have one question left. So, yep, I do. It is from the Cat's Meow 3 here on YouTube. And so she states, for the question and answer, can you talk about your career development and challenges you faced as a woman practicing law? Thanks. Okay, I will try to summarize that. This may be a very long video. So career development. Okay, so let me back it up really quickly and just give you a very quick overview of how I ended up practicing law. My undergraduate studies, I did a major in anthropology, and then I did a double minor in biology and philosophy. The majority of my anthropology courses were forensics based. So basically any forensics type program that I could take, I did. My plan, or my thoughts at the time, were forensic anthropology. That's what I wanted to do. as the backup between the bio and the philosophy minors was more of like a bioethics kind of deal, like basically being on an ethics committee at a hospital. That was something that intrigued me. I did take a lot of like philosophy and the law kind of courses, but it wasn't really on my radar at that time to go to law school. Fast forward to my 4th year of undergraduate when my father was diagnosed with cancer halfway through. So it was around the time where I would have had to start making my applications to graduate schools. And the graduate schools that I was looking at were, there's one in England and there's one in Tennessee that I wanted to go to, and that was obviously worlds away from where I was living in Ontario. And my dad was very sick, and as I have mentioned in previous videos, my dad, the person I call my dad, is biologically my grandfather. So my grandparents on my mother's side adopted me as a child. They've always raised me. I always lived with them. And so they were, in essence, my parents. And legally speaking, they were my parents. So my dad became very ill. He was diagnosed with cancer. It was a very rapid decline for him. And I could not conceive of going out of country for school, and frankly couldn't really think beyond the day that I was in. So doing graduate applications just wasn't going to happen. So I spoke with one of my professors and decided to just take a 5th year of undergraduate. So at the end, so July after my 4th year, so just before I entered my 5th year of undergraduate, my father passed away. And I knew I was going to need a career path where I could graduate school and basically get a job. I knew my mother was going to need assistance and was going to be relying on me and was not going to be able to cope well with me gone for however many years to fulfill my education. So the idea came to me that law school may be the best answer. It would still provide me with lots of challenges and all that kind of thing. And I could still put my forensics to use because I could do criminal prosecution. That was the plan. I have a family with 10 police officers in it, so criminal defense was not on the table. In my 3rd year of law school is 3 years, so in my 3rd year, I volunteered at a family court in Toronto, and I would help unrepresented parties draft documents, so draft affidavits and complete financial statements for use at court. That is what really put me on the path towards family law. So once you graduate law school, at least in Ontario, you have to do something called articling, which is basically like an internship. You are not quite a lawyer, but you're not quite a student. You're in this sort of purgatory state, and you have to complete these articles so that you can then be called to the bar after you write the bar exam. So I interviewed at a number of places, and the one where I immediately felt a connection was in a city I had never heard of, Orillia, little tiny town, but it was a full-service law firm, and I just got an amazing feeling from all the people that worked there. And so they offered me an articling position, and I happily snapped it up, and we made our way north. So I did my articles, which is misleading. You don't actually write articles. It's just basically getting work experience, basically. I left that firm after about 2 years because I felt like I was being stretched in multiple directions. Because I didn't have full autonomy over my caseload, I was still doing civil. I was still doing a little bit of wills and estates matters. I was still getting asked by the criminal partner to go and attend criminal court for him. And I really wanted to focus on family law. I really wanted to sink my teeth into it. So I made an application at a firm in Barrie that practices nothing but family law and was given an opportunity to join them, which I did, and I learned so much. You get thrown in and it's full immersion. All you're doing is family law. And I stayed at that firm for about 5 years before moving on to another one. And then ultimately opening my own family law firm with my business partner, Allison, in February of 2017. So that has sort of been the progression for me, I've been practicing for just about 10 years. It'll be 10 years in September, plus a year of articling before that. And you know, you never stop learning. You really don't. And the law changes and it evolves and it grows and situations change and you're constantly learning new things, which is part of what keeps me excited about it, because if I was just doing the same thing every day, day in, day out, it would not be enough for me. In terms of challenges, yeah, there's some. I hesitate to say, okay, I gotta lean forward. I hesitate to say it because I don't want to give the impression that there's still an old boys club. But when I have been condescended to, it has been by senior male lawyers. Typically not from the area where I work in. Typically they're coming from Toronto, or oddly enough, like far north. For the most part though, like I really haven't experienced much in the way of like sexism or anything like that. There are some lawyers that I deal with who kind of assume that I'm going to take on like a secretary role, which I'm happy to do for like a little bit of the day, and then it's time to switch gears. There needs to be an equal division of labor. The vast majority of the lawyers that I've worked with have been fantastic to deal with. Even when our clients disagree, you know, we get along, and that's cool. That's the way it should be. Other challenges as a woman, really the biggest one is becoming a mother. When I had Aspen, I was working at a firm, but I was basically an independent contractor. So by all accounts, I was self-employed. And then of course with Bennett, I was self-employed as well. So there's no, you know, benefits. There was no EI. There was nothing to assist with maternity leave. Barry started paternity leave in September of last year, and he will be off until September of this year. And so he is doing the stay-at-home dad thing with Bennett, and that's wonderful. And I'm so happy that he has that opportunity. But at the same time, I'm heartbroken because I want that. You know, like this first year has flown by, and I feel like I've missed so much. So trying to balance career aspirations and, you know, self-employment status and being a mother to 2 children and trying to be a good friend to my friends and present as a wife and be a good daughter to my mother and all of that, it's very challenging. It's a lot of plates to keep in the air, and it's a challenge that a lot of people face. So I do the best I can. Sometimes everything feels like it's coming crashing down, but thank God for supportive people in my life. So yeah, so there's definitely benefits to it as well, but it's a challenge. But yeah, that's basically it for career development and challenges I've faced. I can't really think of anything else. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. For any of these questions, if you have additional questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I'm happy to answer. But yeah, that's it for now. This is going to be a very long video. I do not look forward to editing this, frankly. But if you've made it through to this point, thank you very much. I really, really do appreciate it. And I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.